Yeah, I think you can see my screen, right? So, so you can see my screen. That is one thing. Second thing, am I audible to both of you, Sunita and Kishore? Can you please confirm?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So now let's start it and let's continue. So yeah, that's my job. Invite. So now, yesterday we were talking about this loops and all that stuff. So what we do today is let's discuss about where is this Java. Okay, we'll continue with the OOP concepts, objects and classes. In the last session, we had discussed till this topic. What is that? Till this switch case. Maybe we'll continue today from switch case onwards. So the next topic is about classes and objects. Maybe we'll try to get as much understanding as possible on this. Let us just see this. What is this class concept? So this is all about. So we had discussed anyhow. This is clearly discussed in the yesterday's session about classes and objects. Okay. Now object-oriented programming (OOP). So what is an object-oriented programming? So it consists of objects, classes. Just a minute, let me see. It is getting recorded. Yeah, let me start recording. Okay, so if it is when we talk about object-oriented programming, it has something like object, class, abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism, message passing, and dynamic binding. These are all OOP concepts, object-oriented programming concepts. Okay. So if anybody says what is an OOP, it should have all these features. It should have object, it should have class, it should have abstraction, it should have encapsulation, it should have inheritance, polymorphism, message passing, and dynamic binding. So these are all the concepts of OOP. So now the question is anyhow, for now just get an idea. So but for any OOP, the base for object-oriented programming is object and class. Abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism, or message passing and dynamic binding. These are all something which are implemented on top of object and classes. So the base for these objects and classes is just object and class concept. So maybe you can ask me what are all this? So these are all features of OOP, and we are going to talk about it one by one. So when we talk about an object is a real world entity. For example, you take a car, bike, pen, etc. All these are objects. Or another example is an object is instance of a class. That is, it allocates memory for a class. So this is another technical definition. What is an instance of a class, or how it allocates memory for a class? That we will see when we discuss an example of object and class here. So that's a simple idea about what is an object. It's just a simple real world entity, and it is the object for which we create a class. Okay, and the core entity in this OOP is object. So now we'll talk more on this. Next one, class. What is a class? This is much more important. The implementation of class, I mean, this OOP starts with class concept. Of course, even though it is the object which is core, for this object, we implement all this class and methods and everything. But the point is the implementation of this OOP starts with class. Later on, we create an object. So the point is, what is a class here? Class is blueprint of an object, or class describes about an object. So it is, simply speaking, technically, it is collection of variables and methods. So what is it, friends? It is collection of variables and methods. If you ask me, we'll talk more today. Definitely, you'll get a clear picture about what is this class, what is this object, what are these variables, what are these methods, and how to declare all them. All this. You are going to get a clear picture in today's session. So this is a simple idea about class. So it all starts with object first. For this object, like example, you take car. So car is an object. Now you want to create a program for a car. If you should create a program for this object car, first you need a class for that. So in that class, you describe all features of car properties, car functions, or car methods. All that you declare inside class. For that, we need a class. Okay. So anyhow, we'll talk about it in detail. Okay, this is a quick idea. What is an object? What is a class? What is abstraction? Abstraction is providing essential information, hiding background details. Means you don't share everything. You don't provide the implementation. You just share only the that signature of your methods. For example, you take, there is a concept of abstract methods where you try to expose only the signature of methods or the header of the method, but not implementation. So this helps you to hide the background details, like the implementation part. You don't show it to the outside people. That's an abstraction. Providing essential information, hiding background details. Just remember. So that's abstraction. Okay, just remember. We will talk one by one in detail. Encapsulation means so what you do is a group of variables and methods you group into a single unit. So what is that? Grouping of variables and methods into a single unit is known as encapsulation. So you try to keep everything into encapsulation. So for that, there are two types of encapsulation usually. One is a tight encapsulation and another one is a loose encapsulation, or tightly encapsulated class, loosely encapsulated class. Tightly means when everything is private, declared as private, then it becomes a tightly encapsulated class. So loosely encapsulated means few of the members are private and few are some public, right? In such cases, it will be loosely encapsulated. We'll talk about them. I'm just only giving you a quick outline of each and every feature of OOP. That's all. So if you don't understand, even if you don't understand, nothing happens here. So this is a quick idea about encapsulation. Inheritance. What is inheritance? Inheritance is process of deriving properties from a superclass to a subclass, parent class to a child class, base class to a derived class. So that's what we call inheritance. Generally, this happens between classes. So that is a quick idea. Polymorphism. Poly means many. Morphism means forms. So generally we apply this with methods. So overriding and overloading are two different forms of polymorphism. So same method we represent in different forms. The signature of method will be same, but the implementation changes. So that is overloading. So, and overriding means the same method we implement it in subclass and superclass and subclass. Whatever that is there, a method of superclass, that we implement it in the subclass, but with different implementation. That is overriding. Anyhow, this is just a quick outline. That's what I'm saying. Anyhow, we'll get into the details of each and every feature of this. Okay. But I'm just giving an idea. You can just remember poly means many, morphism means forms. One method, if you represent in many forms, then it is usually called polymorphism. Message passing. Two objects communicating with each other using methods is known as message passing. How do you do that happens with again with this object concept? We'll talk about it. Okay. So this is message passing. And then next one, dynamic binding. So generally dynamic binding means at the time of executing program, you try to bind a method call with its associated method at runtime usually. That is called dynamic binding. Maybe if you don't understand, my answer is no need to worry about that. You can just ignore this. That's called dynamic binding. I hope this is clear, all of you, for all of you friends. Understood now? So this is idea about classes and objects. So what is OOP means? This all these are features of OOP. In this, you can consider these features till this polymorphism. So these are all core features of object-oriented programming. Message passing and dynamic binding are ad hoc concepts. Okay, so that's it. So this is a quick idea about classes and I mean this OOP concepts. Now let us jump to the actual concept of classes and objects. Now what we do is we'll start with object and understand objects clearly and then see how to write a program for object. Okay, shall we do that now? So now let's try to understand what is an object. Let me just see one more quick check. Where is it? We are doing, I don't know what is happening. Why it's not getting recorded? Let me do it again. Just a minute, friends. Try to record, but it's not showing recording. Let me try to record again. There is some problem today. So already recording. For me, it's not showing. It's different. Okay, then it should be fine. Okay, it's okay, fine. It is getting recorded, or if you are able to see it, then that should be fine for me. Okay, no problem. At least if you are able to see that, right? Because if you are able to see that, that should be fine for us, no issues. Oh, seems like for me, even in the screen also, I'm not able to see the participants, not sure the even the list of participants. It's okay. You are all there and you are able to see this, right? Just please confirm because I can see only today in my this thing only Sunita and Kishore. Others are there, right? Okay, good, good. I was just thinking something went wrong. Oh, there are 14 members. I have seen only two people. It's okay, fine. That should be fine. Uh, no matter what. Our goal is to make sure that these sessions are done in a very disciplined way. I wouldn't stop. Now, thanks for confirming. So let's talk about classes and objects. Restarted will work normally. Yeah, but if I restart again, we don't know, right? If it is not recording again, I have to sit and record. It will be again double work. Just checking it. Let me do one thing. This is today's session only, right? Just and okay. Sorry for the delay. We'll continue the session. Okay. Then it should be fine. No problem. If we are having that, that should be good. Let's continue. Let's not waste more of our time. So please be communicating in the chat. We'll try, and even mic is open. You can talk because now it's almost streamlined, and we know now classes and objects. What is this? So from here, we'll try to be more clear because I see for many of many of learners, there is a lot of confusion with this class and object concept. But here in our session, we'll make sure that we are very clear with what is this class, what is this object. So this how to create, construct this class, how to create object, all this we are going to have a clear picture about it, friends. Okay, let's do that now. So classes and objects. In that, the first thing about this is object. The core thing of OOP is object. You build class for object and excuse me, we use this class to declare variables of object, methods of object. In that way, everything runs across this object. Okay, so whatever we see, so everything talks about object only. To talk about this object, we create all this stuff. So now what is this means? An object is a real world entity like car, bus, bike. So that is an object. So that is fine. That is general definition. Whatever you see in your real life. So whatever you see in your real life, whatever you can see and whatever you can touch is an object. That's the actual general definition. But we are in programming. We need to talk about technical definition. It's an instance of a class or it allocates memory for a class. Because without object, there is nothing we do in a programming. So because objects is something which allocates memory. And without allocating memory, we can't do anything. So we will talk about it in a very detailed discussion. Okay, this is an idea. Okay, just remember it's an instance of a class, it allocates memory. Remember this. And when you talk an object of an object has what, friends? It has properties, it has actions. For example, you take the example of a car. Car has properties or car has attributes. What attributes are there for a class? So car has a name. You can name this. If anybody with general knowledge can answer these questions. So if you talk about car has name, car has color, car has price, car has you can see all this. So it has name, color, price, and car number, and many more. I just took four of these properties of car. Similarly, if you take book has name, book has pages, number of pages. Book has publisher name. Okay. And book and another name. So there are many things. ISBN number. There are many things for book. So those are all properties. Similarly, if you take any example, movie. Movie has name. Movie has genre. Something like that. Movie has a actor. Something like that. So when you talk about object, object has properties. Properties are attributes which talks about the object. Attributes are nothing but like name, color, price, height, weight, something like that. Actions means every object has actions, like what is that? Like move, acceleration, speed. These are all actions of car. Suppose if it is a movie means what? You have many things like so act, and then you can add how many more methods you want for a movie. Act is one method. Okay. Emote is one method. Fight is one method. There are many methods in a movie. Like that, you can add them. So I hope this is clear. So when we talk about any object, it has attributes and actions. Generally, in a program, we represent this properties, these attributes with the variables. By now we are good with variables, right? How to declare them in Java. And we declare this actions with methods. And if you are new to methods, I'll talk about it in today's session. So that's about this object. When you talk about an object, when we talk about an object is a real world entity which has properties, which has actions. Properties are names which are used to identify your object. Actions are methods. Okay, actions means actions only. Suppose if it is a person actions are walking, reading, writing, sleeping. All these are actions of a person. And generally in a program, these properties are represented with variables and actions are represented with methods. This is an idea about the object. But the question is, how do you declare these variables of object or properties of object in a program? How do you declare these actions of object or in a program? Then that is where we have to move to the next concept, which is what we call class. And this is a simple syntax of object. If you see here, even if you don't understand, just memorize this. When we create an object, the syntax of object look like this: class name. Definitely, if we should create an object, before that a class must exist. So the syntax is class name space reference name equal to new class name. You should remember this. We don't have a choice. Memorize this. So this is a syntax. Just remember. Now, after seeing this, the next question is, what is this class name? Or second thing, where do we declare properties of object? Where do we declare actions of object? That is where we need a class. So what is a class here? A class is blueprint of an object. What is it, friends? A class is a blueprint of an object. And then that means blueprint means it's something like a plan, building plan. And it describes about this. Actually, this class describes about properties and actions of an object. Excuse me, friends. So what is it, friends? A class describes about properties and actions of an object. Okay, or otherwise it is a collection of variables and methods. All that variables of object, all that methods of object you declared inside a class. And generally, a class is declared by using a keyword class itself. How do you declare a class? You declare a class by using a keyword class itself. This is a quick idea about class. I think this was clear for all of you friends. This is an idea about classes and objects. Okay. And then now, so once we get a clear idea about this, we need to understand syntax. So we know that now, what is the purpose of class? If we should describe about object, then we need a class. What do we describe about object? We describe about variables of object, about actions of object in a class. So generally, these properties are declared as variables in program in a class, and actions are declared as methods in a program. We'll talk about methods as well. The syntax is like this. So the syntax of class is class name. Generally, class is a keyword which is used to declare a class, and then it has to follow a class name. And we had discussed about this naming standard, that when you declare a class name, each word starting letter must be uppercase. If you see this class name, the C is I just made, even though it is a syntax, you can observe here the start letter of class is uppercase, C is uppercase, the start letter of name, N is uppercase. This is a naming standard we should follow when declaring a class in OOP. And the full syntax look like this. Access modifier. For now, access modifier talks about visibility. Visibility of a class within the same package, within another package, to the classes of same package, to the classes of other package. So this is called visibility. And generally we have, I think, 4 types of access modifiers in Java: public, private, protected, and default. Default is not a keyword, but even that is an access modifier. When no keyword is declared, no access modifier is declared, then the access is default access. We'll talk about it. We don't need to hurry at this point. So this is a quick idea about syntax. Just remember class name, body. And inside this body, you declare variables and methods. Again, you should blindly memorize this syntax. Syntax means rule. Rule means you should remember. That's all. Okay. So what is syntax here? Class name, and then body. Again, you have to memorize class name, and then body. So first you should declare class, because if you want to construct a house, first anyone does what? Anybody? First they go for a building plan. That is class. Once you have that building plan in place, we try to construct a house. That is object. So if you want to construct house, the first thing we do is we go and get a plan. Similarly in programming, first we create a class and then we go for creating an object. So let us see how to create a class first. So everything goes into this class. Once you are familiar, once you know how to play with these classes, then you need to get an idea about how to create objects and again how to play with objects. So the first step in programming of OOP is understanding classes properly. So this is syntax first, remember. So an example now. How do we create a class? How do we create a class here? Simple. Let us take an example of any object which you like. It is not like necessarily to be car. You can take anything, book or bus or anything, pen or any object of your choice. So once you take this object, the first thing we should do is, if you want to create a class, first identify the properties of that object, or identify the names of that object or variables of that object. So right, just take few attributes of this car. So car has name, right? Car has color, car has price, car has car number. Then how to declare them? What is the data type we should declare for these variables? Most of us know about data types. We had discussed this concept. If it is name, we can declare this as string itself. If it is color, we should declare this as string. If it is price, you can declare as double. If it is number, which is not decimal, then declare as int. So this is how you declare first thing. First thing, you have to choose to declare attributes for any object. So what is that you should do? First declare attributes and then methods. That is what the steps you need to follow. Got it, friends? So I hope you are following. So what is that we should do when you are declaring class and object program? So first you should identify all attributes for a class, because this is very important. Data is important in OOP. It's not about methods. First you need data. On top of this data, we create methods. Methods operate on data. Methods operate on this attributes. I hope this is clear for all of you friends. So what methods does friends? Methods perform operations on data or attributes or properties or variables. So first thing in any OOP programming is declaring your variables, identifying your attributes and declaring them. Okay, that is the thing. Next, we should go for creating methods. Remember, now we just made simple. So this is made simple to understand what has to be done in every step, in every phase of this OOP program. So we just broke down this process into steps so that it's easy for you to follow. So when you are working with this OOP concept, first thing you should do is declare a class. And the syntax look like this. As you know, most of you know, this is how you should declare a class. For example, you want to declare a class for car, then how do you create it? Class car, class name. Just put class name after car. Suppose you want another example. I want to create a class for book. Then how do you do? Class book. And then opening and closing brace. All of you are clear, friends? Class book. And in this, again, you should declare your variables of book and then what is that? Methods of book, all that stuff. This is step one. Once you define these variables and methods, then step two is creating an object for a class. And the syntax, again, you should follow syntax at every step. It's not like we can do as we like. For every step, we should follow a syntax. Syntax you should memorize. Okay. So what is syntax for object? Class name. It should follow with start with class name. Reference name is nothing but a variable name. Variable name, like how you declare for data types. But here, your class itself acts as a data type. Even class is called user-defined data types. Usually in programming, maybe let me give you a quick idea. We have two types of data types. When you talk about data types in OOP, like these kind of languages, we can categorize into two types. What is that? One is built-in, what we call built-in data types. That is one thing. There is another category, what we call reference types. Reference type data types, okay, or user defined data types. And when we talk about classes, okay, so here, when we talk about class or these things, user defined data types. So built-in means already we know. So what is this? This int, okay, this char, this double, okay, this float, all this. These all keywords are built in. Reference or user defined means something like string. String is not a built-in data type, but it's called a reference type or user defined data type. It's a class actually. So it doesn't fall into the category of built-in data types. Got it, fine, friends? Huh? So the point is here, friends, class is user defined data type. So what is it? It's user defined data type. Okay, we create it. We build class, we create objects. So that's why it's called user defined, which is created by the developer itself. So that's user defined. Remember this. I'll talk more about it. But other name usually you hear for user defined data types is reference types. Okay, reference. What is that? Why we call reference? I'll give a very detailed picture about everything. Okay, but just be patient for some time. So this is how we should create an object. What is a class name, reference name equal to new? New is a keyword again, and then class name. Okay, here if you see, we are declaring reference name, which is a variable. Generally, this is just a variable name. You can give any name of your choice as a reference name. It's more like declaring like a variable. So this class name acts as data type. This is a variable, and new is something which is very important because this is part of your object, which is allocates memory. This new operator allocates memory for your class. So why it should allocate memory? I'll give a postmortem of this classes and objects. Then you'll get a clear idea. So Again, if you can see this object has two parts. The left part is a reference part we call. This is a reference part. This one. This class namespace reference name. This is a reference part. And right part is actual object part. Many people get confused. Of course, people call this variable as object, but this variable is not object. This right part, new space class name is actual object. Is the second part here. The right side of assignment is the actual object, not the left one. See, if you just a quick example to remember concept of object. You have a TV and you have a remote, which is very important. See, TV is important. That is object, right? Just like and I'm giving a quick example. So TV is object. Why? Without TV, remote doesn't have any importance. So here, this is object. This is like a TV. You got it, friends, sir? Understood now? This is like a TV. And then the reference is like a remote. So point now you should be, without my more explanation, you can easily understand. A TV can exist without remote, but a remote cannot exist without TV. Of course, even if it exists also, remote is useless, right? Without TV. But TV can be used without remote also. I hope I didn't confuse you and the concept is clear. The example is clear. So what is again, I'm just giving you, I'm repeating. You have a TV and remote. We can watch TV without remote. Still we can do that. But without TV, remote is useless for us. It just will be anything in our hand. That's all. So remote is useful for us only when we have a TV. Without TV, it is useless. Similarly, in programming, this reference is useful only when object exists. And which is object? Many people have a confusion. People call this as an object, but generally while saying we might call it as object, but actual object is right side of assignment. This is object. And observe this and remember this carefully. Understand this. And left side is reference, what we call reference to this object. We'll talk about it. I'll give a clear picture. Why this is object, why this is reference, what is there here inside reference, what is there when we create object. I'll talk about it. So, but remember, I hope this should be clear for you here. Object has two parts here. Okay, reference and object itself. So which is very important, right side or left side part? Actually, if you ask me, so can we have a program even without declaring this left side part? Means yes. But can we have a program? Can we have a program without right side part? Means no, except only when we have a static concept. Okay. We cannot have a program without this object, but we can have a program without still reference. Of course, still it is quite little difficult, but still we can do that. Got it, friends? This is an idea. Remember, now this is an example of object. So again, two parts: class name, new class name. You just follow the syntax. Suppose your class name is car. So how do you create an object? Your class name, in place of class name, put that car name, that car, and put some variable of your choice. New don't change. Again, class name, and then this parenthesis must be applied. Okay, just that is how you create an object. I hope this is clear for all of you, friends. This is how we should construct an object. Clear now how to declare class and how to declare object. We'll see small example today. And then step 3, we should access these members of a class. Inside class, you have variables, you have methods, but you should access them outside class. And that is possible only by creating an object. Okay, then how to access them? Syntax is simple. Reference name dot member name. What is reference name? You know now. This is reference name. Class name. Here C is reference. So if I want to call, suppose inside class I have this okay, this name or color or price or something. How do I access this outside? So further the syntax is reference name dot member name. For example, if something is inside a class and if I want to access that, then I access that like this. See that reference of class name and variable of class. This is how we access them. So this is how we access a variable of a class outside that class. You declare this inside class. If you want them to access outside, then this is how we get them. Okay. And how to access a method. Same syntax. Here reference name dot method name. And the method name, usually methods have parentheses. Any method, if it is having brackets, we consider it as a method. And if you ask me what is this method, we don't know anything about it. We'll talk about it in detail. We'll go through this method concept in detail and I'll show you how to work with the different forms of methods and how to do programs with methods. Okay, so we don't need to worry about it. So here reference dot method name, you can see here again that C, whichever is the variable of that class, you just declare that and use dot operator. This is called member access operator and then call that method, whichever method you declared inside class like input or get data, put data or anything of your choice, whichever you declare inside a class. Okay. So this is calling a method. The difference is if it is variable don't have any parentheses, it's just a name. But if it is method have a name plus a parenthesis, remember. So these are the steps you should follow when accessing a method. Steps to declare classes and objects. Let us quickly summarize this. Step one, what should we do? We can also summarize in your mind. You should declare a class. What should be the syntax? Class name, and then body. And then step two, what is that we should do? Create an object. What is the syntax of object? Class name, reference name equal to new class name. Okay. And in this, which is actual object? Is the reference name or is it the right side part? And you know the answer for this. Okay. And the third thing is how to access members of a class. We access members using member access operator dot. And the syntax look like this: reference name dot member name. That member name can be a variable or it can be a method of a class. And this is the example how to access this variable of a class. C dot that variable name. This is the example how to access a method. C dot method name. I hope this is clear for all of you. And this is our first program. I'll just show you to how to do it from the scratch so that you get a clear picture. So here it's more like interactive approach now. I just ask quick questions. If possible, you will please answer it in the chat box so that we'll build this simple class and object and let us have a clear idea how to build a simple class and object program. And that becomes your journey of Selenium easy. Because for Selenium, we have to create objects for this WebDriver classes and many more things like this. Okay, there are many built-in things to test your all the website. I mean, this website. If you should test your website, then you have to create bunch of objects in Selenium and calls bunch of methods on each object. So if you understand this concept here, then automatically it's easy for you to implement for your Selenium program. Okay, even though you are doing testing, if it is Selenium, so what we need to understand this process of creating objects, calling methods, so that we do that for website. Because they are all methods and classes which we create, objects which we create. So, sorry, next new class. Let's create our first program for classes and objects. So let me create, let's create for class a car itself, no problem. Anything you can choose. So I create this as car test more than car. So break down your program into two parts. One is test class, another one is actual class. Okay. So here name this as test, which has main inside that. I'll show you how to create the concept of classes now. So finish. Okay. And put your main inside this. This time add main inside this. But leave this as is for now. So what do you do right now? Leave this car test. This is for testing purpose. Let's leave it aside. So now what you do, first step one, what is step one, friends? I need your answer in the chat box. What is that we do with the steps with classes and objects? Now we are creating a program for what? Car, to display details of car. Okay, program for car details, simply speak. Step one, what is step one? Please answer in the chat box. Create a class. So how do you declare? What is syntax of class, friends? Class, class name, right? So what is class name? Class car. So if it is car, create car. Okay, opening bracer and then close. That will automatically be added. No problem. Now, before you declare variables, so first step here is declaring variables or properties. If you should declare these properties, what is that you need now? You need to identify them first. And many of us know that without big issue. If it is car, what properties car has? Car has name, car has color, car has price, car has car number, all this stuff. You got this, friends? Is this clear? So now if you see here, let us declare those variables now, those attributes. How do you declare? What is name? What is the type? What should be the data type of name? String. So declare it as string name. Leave it like that. So if you want, you can assign it directly. That's a different thing. So if you want, for now, what we do, let's assign directly. Name, car name, and give some name. So I'm giving it as bench. Any example, anything of your choice. It's not like it should be bench only. Okay. But here use double quotes. These days I am using Python as well. So there you can use single quotes. So I'm just no forgetting that. So use double quotes. Here we don't have single quote concept for string. For a single character only we have a single quotes. But for string it has to be double quotes always in Java. So change it to double quotes. So that is first thing. Second thing, again color. Color also should be string type and equal to. So give some color of your choice, something like black. Okay, and then semicolon. And third thing, price. So price usually will be double type, double price, and then it should be some 1 lakh or 2 lakhs. Sorry, 1 crore or 2 crore, something like that. Just give that number. Some random number I give. Let it be. Okay, that is the price of what shall we say? Again, you can see here. Change this to double quotes. Okay. And here end it with semicolon. This is how you should define price and number. With car number something equal to some triple one, something like this, or 4 ones. So this is a simple class program. So what is that you should do? First, you should recognize your variables or properties. Once you recognize them, you should declare them inside a class. So step one is creating class. In this, the first thing is you should identify your variables. Once you identify them, you should declare them inside a class like this. And the syntax of class is this, just put this variables inside class. Okay, this is a simple class over. And this has a declaration of attributes for car class. Attributes for class car. Okay, and is this clear? Till this, it's clear for everyone, friends. This is step one. What is this, friends? This is step one. All of you are clear till this? Can I get an S from you in the chat box? Can you please confirm in the chat box, sir? Oh, thank you. How about others? All of you are good now with this class and object concept. Everything is clear? Oh, thank you. Thank you. Now, this is step one. What is step two? Can you please answer this in the chat box? This is step one. We created a class and then we declared variables inside that. And again, if you ask me, where is this methods, Manoram? I'll talk about it. We'll come with a very, again, a clear discussion on that method concept as well. So first, are you clear till this, and are you able to add variables to your class? That is the point one. Step two is what? Constructing object. What is step two? Please, you know, right? We had discussed very clearly the steps. Once you define class, step two is creating object. What do you do here, friends? I told you to split this into two parts because usually test class, we keep it for declaring object and then calling methods or calling variables here. So that's why we split this program into two parts, test class and the actual class. Actual class talks about the object, our car properties, car methods, everything about car. And test class is for step two onwards, constructing object, calling variables, calling methods, all that two in the test class. It's for simple testing, simply speaking, because we are testing people. So to test your classes, we use a test class. In that, we actually keep main, and we go for step two here. What is step two? Step two is creating a object. For this, again, you don't need any technical knowledge. Follow the syntax. What is the syntax to create object? Class name space reference name equal to new class name. And class name should be as is. If class name, see, you should follow this naming standard. Starting letter of class name should be uppercase, and it has to be as is while creating object. If your class name is uppercase here, C is uppercase, don't use lowercase while creating object. And if it is lowercase here, don't use uppercase while creating object. This is case sensitive. Again, this point I didn't mention it in the beginning. All these languages are case sensitive. The C, CPP, Java, and C Sharp. Any small change in case treats them as a different one, not as same like we expect. So what is that? Car class name car equal to reference. Give some variable name. It should not be C. It can be car. Okay, name. Okay, equal to some otherwise. Some car demo also. You can give anything of your choice. It's just a variable name like we know. So I just put as C now for now. Car C equal to new class name. What is class name again? Car. Put parenthesis and then semicolon. I'm blindly following syntax. I'm not doing anything. I'm just following the syntax. That's all. So this is step two. What is that? Constructing object. And this has two parts. Actual object is which one? Right side part or left side part? I'll just prove that, which is important. Even today, it's in today's session itself. So this is step two, friends. So what is that? Creating object. Next, third one. Step three, accessing members of a class. Step three, I'll just show you system.out.println. Okay, suppose after creating object here in test class, I try to call this variable name, color, or price, or car number directly inside class like this name. Okay. If I directly call this, what happens now? Run this. You can see here. First of all, before I run, you can see immediate compilation error here. What is that error? Name cannot be resolved to a variable. Why this error? Why this error, friends? Because the variable of this class, you cannot call it outside directly without having object. See, because these are all part of object. When they are part of object, you have to access these variables of class only through object. These variables of class car, you should object through object. Got it, friends? So how do I access through object? Through this reference. So then if I should call this name of this class car, then I cannot directly call name directly like this. Then I should say c.name. Now it will work. This is how you should access members of a class through object, through reference of object or object. Either we can do it in two ways. We can switch on a TV directly, or we can switch on through remote. Which one you want to follow is your choice. Usually remote is more recommended one, right? Because you can sit anywhere and you can operate TV. So that is the best choice, right? So here also you can access this members of a class either through this reference or through this object directly, but recommended approach is accessing through reference. So here, how do you call this variables of class? See this reference dot class name. Okay, reference is C dot name, and then again, what shall we do? C dot color and C dot price. Okay, and then don't use system dot error, system dot out. This okay. Somehow, I just misdeclared it. System dot out dot println C dot price, and also you can do the same for the last one, C dot car number. And another important point is it's not necessary to print every variable of a class here. So this is just a demo, a demonstration. So I'm just trying to print them. But in a real program, you don't try to call each and every variable all at once. It depends on need and necessity. Got it right? You just sometimes you just need to call only name or color or price or car number. That's all. Not everything need to be called here. Okay. But this is just a start program, a beginning program. So we are just testing everything. Now I am able to call all these variables. Now we followed the steps very clearly. We created a class first and then we created object and then we are trying to access variables of class. For now, we don't have methods. Please ignore about methods. We'll talk about in tomorrow's session. So let's run this and you can see the output here. Range black and we have okay price and number. And if you want to be more clear output, you can add a string here. So the name is and then you can say plus and then the color is you can also test it along with me. The color is okay plus and then the price is you can add the strings. Okay, the price is what is this friends? Plus and then the last one is the number is car number is plus. This is a quick idea how to create this. You can see here. You have the text now. So this is a simple program for classes and objects. These are the steps we should follow. So this class describes about object features and then the actual object is this. I'll talk more about all this in tomorrow's session because already we are running out of time. All of you are good now, friends. Is this clear for everyone? I hope this is actually